In the bustling village of Accra, where the scent of jollof rice filled the air and the sound of kente weaving echoed through narrow streets, lived a young woman named Amma. At just 20 years old, her eyes held the weight of a lifetime of struggle. Since her mother's passing 3 years ago, Amma had known no peace. Her father, once a kind fisherman, had turned to the bottle, becoming a cruel and bitter man. As if Amma's life wasn't hard enough, her father married a wicked woman named Auntie Afua, who despised Amma with every fiber of her being. They forced her to cook, clean, and tend to their small farm from dawn till dusk, often denying her food and rest. The villagers whispered about Amma's plight, but none dared to intervene, fearing her father's drunken rage. One sweltering afternoon, as Amma trudged home from the market, her tattered dress clinging to her thin frame, she stumbled upon a young man named Kwame. His clothes were worn and his shoes had holes, but his eyes sparkled with kindness and determination. Kwame had come to Accra seeking work, hoping to escape the poverty of his rural hometown. Fate, it seemed, had other plans for Kwame and Amma. As they walked together, sharing their dreams and sorrows, neither could have imagined the twist their lives were about to take. Little did they know that Kwame harbored a secret that would change everything. Days turned into weeks, and Kwame found work on Amma's father's small plot of land. He toiled under the scorching sun, clearing bushes and planting cassava, all while stealing glances at Amma whenever he could. Despite the backbreaking labor, Amma's father refused to pay Kwame, always finding excuses to delay his wages. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Kwame approached Amma's father. "Sir," he said, his voice trembling with a mix of exhaustion and frustration. "I've worked for 2 months now. Please, I need my pay." Amma's father, his eyes glazed over from palm wine, let out a wicked laugh. "You want money, boy?" he sneered, his gaze falling on Amma, who stood nearby, her heart pounding in her chest. "Take my daughter instead. She's good for nothing else." Kwame's eyes widened in shock, while Amma felt her world crumbling around her. How could her own father treat her like a piece of property to be traded away? But before either of them could protest, Auntie Efwa chimed in, her voice dripping with venom. "Yes, take her. One less mouth to feed in this house." Tears streamed down Amma's face as she realized her fate had been sealed. With nowhere else to turn and fearing her father's wrath, she reluctantly agreed to marry Kwame. The village elders, eager to avoid scandal, hastily arranged a simple ceremony. As Amma prepared for her wedding day, her heart heavy with sorrow and fear, she couldn't help but wonder what life with Kwame would be like. Would he be kind, or would he turn out to be just as cruel as her father? The wedding was a modest affair, with only a handful of villagers in attendance. Amma wore her mother's old kente cloth, the vibrant colors a stark contrast to the sadness in her eyes. Kwame, dressed in his best shirt, which was still threadbare and patched, looked at Amma with a mixture of guilt and determination. As they exchanged vows under the watchful eyes of the village elders, Amma felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, she thought, this marriage could be her escape from the misery of her father's house. Little did she know that Kwame was about to reveal a secret that would turn her world upside down. The newlyweds left the village that very night, with Kwame promising Amma a better life in the city. They traveled for hours, the bumpy roads and darkness making the journey seem endless. Amma's heart raced with uncertainty, wondering what awaited her in this new chapter of her life. As dawn broke, they arrived at a grand house on the outskirts of Kumasi. Amma's eyes widened in disbelief as Kwame led her through ornate gates and into a lush garden. "Welcome home, my wife," he said softly, a smile playing on his lips. Confused and overwhelmed, Amma turned to Kwame, searching his face for answers. It was then that he revealed the truth. He was not the poor laborer she thought him to be, but a wealthy businessman who had gone undercover to find a wife who would love him for who he was, not for his money. Amma's mind reeled as she tried to process this information. The man she had married, the man she thought was as poor as she was actually a millionaire. It seemed too incredible to be true. As days passed, Amma struggled to adjust to her new life of luxury. The servants, the fine clothes, the lavish meals, it all felt like a dream from which she might wake at any moment. But amidst the opulence, she found herself longing for the simplicity of her village life, for the genuine connections she had left behind. Kwame, sensing her unease, tried to shower her with gifts and attention, but Amma felt a growing distance between them. How could she trust a man who had built their relationship on a lie, no matter how well-intentioned? As weeks turned into months, Amma's resentment grew. She felt like a bird in a gilded cage, trapped in a life she never asked for. The wealth that surrounded her seemed hollow, a poor substitute for the love and honesty she craved. One night, unable to bear the weight of her emotions any longer, Amma confronted Kwame. "Why did you deceive me?" she cried, tears streaming down her face. "Did you think I was so shallow that I would only love you for your money?" Kwame, his eyes filled with remorse, tried to explain. "I've been hurt before," he said softly. "I wanted to find someone who would love me for who I am, not what I have. But I see now that in trying to protect myself, I've hurt you deeply." As they talked through the night, laying bare their fears and hopes, Amma began to see Kwame in a new light. She realized that beneath his wealth and deception was a man who, like her, had been wounded by life and was searching for genuine love. Slowly, tentatively, they began to rebuild their relationship on a foundation of honesty and trust. Kwame showed Amma that his wealth could be a tool for good, using it to improve life in her village and help others in need. Together, they worked to create a balance between their new life of privilege and the values of community and simplicity that Amma held dear. As months passed, their love deepened, forged in the fires of adversity and strengthened by their shared commitment to each other and to making a difference in the world. Amma discovered that true wealth lay not in material possessions, but in the bonds of love, trust, and shared purpose. Years later, as Amma and Kwame sat on the porch of their home, watching their children play in the garden, she reflected on the twists and turns that had brought her to this moment. The poor village girl who had once been forced into marriage had found not just wealth, but true love and fulfillment. Their story became a legend in the village, a tale of love that transcended class and deception, of two hearts finding each other against all odds. And as the sun set on another day, Amma knew that the greatest treasure she possessed was not the fine house or the expensive clothes, but the love she shared with Kwame and the life they had built together.